walk you through a step-by-step guide on how to use H&R Block. This is going to be to file your own taxes. This isn't going to be utilizing a pro or having them do it for you. This is strictly going to be to file your own taxes. I have done a previous video on using TurboTax, so we have the two biggest tax preparation companies, TurboTax being number one, H&R Block number two for do-it-yourself. So I wanted to go step-by-step with doing it. Now, again, I've not necessarily used TurboTax before, so we are going to learn how to do it together, and we're going to go step-by-step on how to do it. I'm a CPA with almost about 2 decades of experience. I like to focus on providing values, money-saving tips, tax laws, as well as anything money and current laws. So again, please like, subscribe to my videos. All right, so step number 1 is we're on hnrblock.com. And we're going to just go on ahead and click on File My Own Taxes. And we'll wait for it to load. And then again, it's kind of giving us various things. So your simple return is going to be free, deductions and credits, investments, business owners. Now, one thing that I'm going to caution you on in regards to deductions and credits is you need to have a lot of deductions in order to exceed the standard deduction. So for a lot of people, this isn't going to be the case, but so just keep that in mind. And I mean, again, it's not a huge difference between $0 and $35. However, you also pay $0 for a state on the simple tax returns, whereas here it's $37 per state. So keep all of that in mind what you're doing. So I would always just say, let's just start with the $0 one. And we'll let it load. So again, I've already set up an account. So I've already done that. I've already logged in. So you would need to set up an account with them prior to doing your return. So we're just going to go on ahead, say continue our taxes. Let's start from the beginning. And right now you can see up here we're working on our federal return. So we're going to click on next. So we're going to enter a name, just going to make up a name. Nothing. We're going to say 01/01/1975. And then we will say that we are married. And then none of these applied. So we'll click on next. Let's see if we can get this to work. Putting in a random social security number. And we'll click next. Okay, great. Looks like it. So again, as I always recommend, this is now asking us, how would you like to file? I did make a video prior to in regards to filing status. And I do recommend usually filing joint 90%, 95% of the time, I would say. All right. Now let's say our spouse's name is the same. And then we'll go from there. And we'll say her date of birth is 02/02/1975. And then again, none of those apply. We'll click on next. And then we'll make up a social security number again. See if this works. Click on next. Obviously, again, you'd want to make sure that you're doing, full social security number and whatnot in order to get this completed. And then above, you'd enter your phone number. So, okay, so we'll go on ahead and enter address. 90210 Beverly Hills, California. It already did it. We'll say yes, we lived in California for the whole year. We'll click on next. And now we're going to go through some simple tax questions. So this again is asking about if we're a U.S. citizen. Now again, if you're not a U.S. citizen, a different return will be required, but we're going to answer yes. We're going to say nobody was a student. We're going to say that no one can claim us as a dependent. And then again, looks like similar to TurboTax, there's information that helps you make that determination on who can claim a dependent. So we're going to answer it no, because we are married. We will say that we have dependents. We're going to say we have one dependent, and we're going to call it, just make up a name again. No, that, and then we're going to go make up a social security number. Again, you'd want to make sure you're putting the actual social security numbers in here, when you're doing your actual return. And then we're just going to say that that baby was born in 2023. We are going to say it's our son. And then here, this is determining whether or not you can claim him as dependent, as well as eligibility for the earned income credit. So they lived with me for all of 2024. So we'll say yes. They are a U.S. citizen. Yes. They have a social security number. That is yes. And then, of course, none of these are pretty much applicable. They're not married because they're only 1 year old. And we're going to say not answer any of those other items here. And then we'll click on next. And it looks like we can claim them as a dependent. And then, yep, so we're going to keep going on next. All right, so good news for your house members qualify for these deductions and credits. So again, it's telling us we can get dependent care expenses, we can get a child tax credit, and we can maybe get an earned income credit. So again, we're going to go through everything, and we're going to see what we're eligible for. And I want to see if I qualify. This one, I don't think I would say you'd want to check. So basically, if we did check that box, the only other filing statuses that may be better off is if for whatever reason you can claim head of household. But if you're married, there's very slim likelihood that you're going to be able to claim head of household. Filing as single is going to eliminate you from that dependent care deduction credit. So you definitely don't want to do that. I'm sorry, filing as separate. And then it's going to be exactly 50% of the tax bracket. So again, you don't want to do that. So we're just going to leave it as is, and we're going to continue on. And then here again is the members of our household. We're going to continue on. We don't need to do any of this. We're just going to say no thanks here because this is asking us, let's personalize your experience, relevant offers, and so on and so forth. We're not going to bother with any of that. We're just going to say no thank you. No thank you. So that was for me and then for my spouse. So now let's dive into our income. We're going to say our occupation is tax preparer. And then we're going to say that's the only one. We're not going to say he's a military. And what does Stacy do? We're just going to say she is a stay-at-home mom. Click on that, which gave it to us in the drop-down. We'll say no to cryptocurrency. No to foreign income counts or assets. And then we only earned income in California is what we're going to say. And then we're just going to say that we have an employee, we have a W-2. No unemployment, no gambling winnings, none of that, other items. Nope. So we're just going to say in this particular case that we have a W-2. We'll add an employer, and we'll say employer name. We'll just say H&R Block. Making it up as we go. And then say add a W-2. And then we're not going to enter it. You can import it. Again, if you do actually end up importing your W-2, what you're going to want to do is double check the numbers, double check all boxes before importing it. So we're going to skip it, and we are going to click on next here. And it's saying needs review. So let's see. Let's click on edit. Let's see if we can get this entered in. I don't want to import. Oh, I guess we have to say show more import options. So that's a little bit confusing. Definitely, it seems like TurboTax is easier in this respect for entering your W-2 if you want to do it manually. It's pretty much only giving you one option. So I said skip for now, and that skipped the entire W-2. So this is interesting. And then again, similar to TurboTax, it gives you the examples. You can upload a PDF, send a pic. Anything that you don't do besides entering manually, make sure that you check it. So we're going to enter it manually. Again, that's going to be for the spouse. And then we'll say make up a EIN number. And then we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That should do it. And then we'll say 1, 2, 3, fake street in 90210. Nice that it populates the address. Again, so boxes 1 to 11, we're just going to say we make $150,000. Federal income tax withheld, let's say $14,000. We're going to say Social Security is the same amount. Social Security taxes is 6.2%, so let's just figure out what that is. Pulling up a calculator right now, so 150 times 0.062, so that'll be $9,300. And then it'll say Medicare wages is the same. And the Medicare wages is 1.42. 142, I believe. I might be off on my percentages, but I believe. So I'll put that in there. I'm going to say no Social Security and tips. Now, this mirrors exactly as it is on your W-2. So you really just need to have a copy of your W-2, put it on there. If for one reason you don't have your W-2, I did make a video on entering it in with your pay stub. Again, it's not 100% accurate, but you can end up filing an estimated or a 99% accurate return if you filed that video. We're not going to say anything is checked here. We're not going to say we contribute to a retirement plan. We're not going to say we contribute to a retirement plan. We're not going to check any of those boxes. And we'll just see what happens with California. And then again, we'll just make up an ID number. State wages, we're going to say is the same. We'll say had 6,000 withheld. Similar here, everything mirrors your W-2. Just make sure you enter everything as possible. Please correct. Let's try this. What I do, it might not let us do it, so let's just see what happens. All right, here we go. Yep, there we go. And then now some untypical situations. Did you get a corrected W-2? None of these should really apply. If it's for active duty military wages, you might get a discount on them. I'm not 100% sure on their pricing, but you can consider that. But we're going to leave all those blank. And then, what did I do? I might have messed up the rate. What is the Medicare rate? I thought it might be 1.1 and 1.45. Let's just see what that is. But as you can see here, it actually 1.45. I was right. So I was off a little bit. I did 1.42. 1.45. Oops. 150 times 0.0145. 2175. So that's why we're off slightly. So that's a nice feature that if you mess something up, or if you think you mess something up, that it actually warns you, because that should be right. So pretty much your FICA taxes should pretty much be accurate. So we're just going to continue going through these screens. No deductions. So again, you'd have to add deductions if you had any mortgage interest. So we can do this. We can put in some mortgage interest, real estate taxes paid, and we can say we have charitable deductions. And then we'll go off of that. We're just going to, so let's start home mortgage interest. So far, fairly easy. We'll say this is joint. And then we're not going to put any of these non-typical items in there. Again, I like entering manually. You could do it how you want. If you don't enter it manually, then you need to be sure that it's entered accurately. Let's just say we paid, let's just say we paid $8,000. We'll say our outstanding mortgage principal is $350,000. Again, you'll take this right from the 1098 if you have one. We're not going to fill any of the other items out. We're just going to continue on. So mortgage origination date, we'll say 01/01/2022. And we'll continue. Oops, they want that. So I'm just going to make up a number. Oops, we don't want it to be limited. So we'll put 325. Continue on. So here's what we know about our mortgage interest. So again, Wells Fargo. We're not going to say that we didn't pay any points. This would just, again, be something that's on your 1098 for your mortgage. We said mortgage interest, no points, no amortized points. We're just taking the $9,000. Tell us about your real estate. Taxes, 123 Fake Street. Now, real estate taxes for itemized purposes are going to be limited to $10,000. So now that's $10,000 whether you file married filing joint or single. So it's $10,000 for single, $10,000 head of household. Married filing separate is $5 apiece, and married filing joint is still the $10,000. So we're going to say we paid the $10,000. So we'll max that out. And then we'll say cash and other donations. So let's just say we gave to Goodwill, and let's just say it's a private foundation. I guess we would say it's a private nonprofit. Cemetery, no. Schoolhouse for veterans, private foundation, community health, government. Let's say it's a private foundation. And let's say we gave $3,000, and we'll say that we gave, both of us did. And we'll say next. Okay, so that's cash that we paid. And then we'll keep on going. So now it's saying again, so standard deduction for married filing joint is $29,200. We only had $21,000 of technically itemized deductions. So we are better off to take the standard deduction. So that's what it's telling us here. Again, kind of nice. Tells your federal refund amount right there. $682, it looks like, is what we would receive. Actually, it's not really clear, so it says refund owe meter. So I wonder if that's actually a refund or if that's money that we owe. But we'll find out as we get further along. I think TurboTaxes is a little bit nicer on top. It gives you a little more intuitive, a little more user-friendly, it seems like. As far as the software interface, I mean, it seems both systems seem to be pretty good. Okay, so now let's do the child tax credit. So we'll start this. We need to get you started, so we'll say yes. Have you had a claim for any of these? Well, so actually no. So this is if you were denied a claim in the last 10 years. So you'd have to answer yes or no. And we'll just continue on here. So again, they're saying we maximize their credit. We're getting the $2,000, which is accurate for our one child that we used in this particular example. And again, it's just retelling you it again. Similar to TurboTax, how you answer the questions is going to be dependent upon what you get for credits, and it goes by actual IRS tax laws. Here's an important item. Again, if you had health insurance that you purchased off the marketplace, you would have received a 1095-A. This needs to get reported if you have that. Otherwise, your return will get rejected. But we're going to say we didn't have it. We're just going to say we got health insurance through our employer. We'll say everyone in our household was covered all year long for health insurance. Health insurance through employer. We're just going to say health insurance through employer. We're not going to put anything. So this is kind of nice that it lets you know that if you bought it on the marketplace, you are going to need to file the 1095-A, as I do think that is a big reject item. And it looks like that's all that they need to know. So nope, we don't need anything here. Let's see. So no taxes, penalties, federal tax is $16,000. We had $14,000 withheld. No premium tax credit. Okay. So let's just see what we have going on here. So I'm thinking that's money we owe just based on this. We don't need to make any estimated taxes. Again, if your balance due is under $1,000, you're not required to make estimated taxes. And I probably wouldn't check any of these other boxes. I think I'd kind of just go through it. Now let's check it for accuracy, and I'm kind of curious to see how much we're going to end up paying for this return, if we're stolen free or if we got pushed out of free. Nice work. We look spotless, so we'll keep going. And it does look like we owe $682. So again, not terrible, but we'll keep on going. Now we're getting some of the sales items. So let's see what Spruce is. I don't like any of these items which offer you to get your refund early. In this particular case, our return doesn't have anything crazy on it. Honestly, we're going to get our return in probably about a week to 10 days. So I would definitely say no, don't do it. It just ends up making everything more difficult and harder. And again, as I always say in all my videos, you want to limit the amount of touch points with the IRS. Keep it simple. So we're going to say not right now. Okay, now here we go. They want us to upgrade. So this isn't really good. I mean, they only let you keep your documents until November 2025, so that's not even for a year. So I believe that TurboTax keeps it for a lot longer than that. So they almost like they pretty much are forcing you to pay, which is kind of crazy. It looks like you can get live support. You can e-file an amended return if you need it. Yeah, and I think TurboTax is free for an amended return if you mess it up. So just using their software, you get it for free. So I think in that respect, I would recommend TurboTax over this one, just for those couple of aspects here. But let's continue on with free. And it's saying we're going to lose our documents, which I think is wild. Again, I mean, I know it's a free version, it's a paid version, but, I think it's kind of crazy that we'd end up losing our documents. But I'm kind of curious if we go back in there and we say we got a dependent care credit. Let's kind of go back and see what happens if we go back to our federal return. Don't want to check my return. Last screen completed. Let's see. Credits. Let's add credits. This isn't as user friendly, I don't think, as TurboTax, to be honest with you. Okay. Because it's telling you forms, and as a taxpayer, I don't think I would know the forms. I don't. So I don't think in that respect it's as user friendly. But I mean, again, take your pick. So we're gonna say we have a child tax dependent care credit. I'm not liking how it doesn't automatically take you there. It looks like you're not eligible for child tax dependent care. Oh, I know why. It's because my wife does not work. Um, let's just add her in as saying that she works. So let's get income. Let's add an W2 and let's just say, where is W2 on here? I don't know. Edit, add an employer. Here we go. Again, not super user friendly, so I kind of give them another check against them. I felt like TurboTax was a lot easier. So let's just say Apple. We'll hit next. And then we'll add it. We're going to learn from our mistakes, show more import options, enter manually. This is for my wife. We're going to say 06. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then 3, 1, fake street, 90210. Okay, that was nice. I put it in there. We're just going to say she makes $25,000. Say she had $5,000 withheld. $25,000. We'll multiply this. We'll say 25,000 times 0.0145. This is 363. I'm going backwards. 25,000, 363. This one is 6.2%, 0.62. This is 1550. That goes there, and then we'll leave all that blank. We'll go put random numbers in here, and we're going to say 25,000, and we'll say she had 4,000 withheld. Again, not realistic numbers, but we're just going to kind of go through. State abbreviation cannot be left blank. Okay, so let's go back through. So I missed the state. So we're going to say California again, and we're going to go through, and we're going to click on next. And again, we're not going to say that it's subject to any of the above. So now we have an 1182 balance due, but we're going to get to what I wanted, and that is going to be the credits, because I want to see if we can get this into a paid version. So let's just skip out. Let's go to the credits, and we'll hit revisit. Here we go. So, okay, so here we go. This is actually kind of nice. It's telling me right now that in order for me to continue on, I would need to continue with Deluxe for $35. So let's go on ahead and let's click continue, because now I'm curious to see if they are going to try to upsell us as well later on. Okay, so that's where we're at, and we're good. We're just going to say no thanks once again, and we're going to hit next. We're going to add a provider. We're going to say it's a business, provider name, daycare, and then again EIN. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All that looks good. Again, 1, 2, 3, fake. Just enter the address. 90210, 90210. Okay. So qualified expenses, let's just say $7,000. We'll click on next. And then we'll say next. And we'll say nothing here. So dependent care, that would be if you contributed to a flexible spending account for dependent care benefits, but we're going to say that we did not, so we're going to keep on going. And then again, we got $600 for this particular situation. So not bad, not a bad deal. And that's just telling us what we're doing. And okay, here's our total credit. So we got $2,600 for our child. And then same, we're going to leave insurance and everything else the way it is. So let's see. I'm curious now to see, is it still going to tell us that we want to? So again, nothing here because we don't need to make anything. Our balance due is under $1,000. It's $582. And let's check for accuracy. I want to see if what else is going to try to sell us now that we're in Deluxe. If it's going to maintain the returns because it's a Deluxe version or not. We'll see what happens. So we're going to go onward. So federal taxes due is $582. Again, we're not getting Spruce. I don't like any of these software, any of these items. So nope, actually it didn't. So I wonder if it won't make us. Let's just see what happens. Let's just continue to go through. So state returns you can pretty much go through pretty quickly. So that's only if your name changes. Choose. We'll just make something up. Click next. It'll say yes. Because every state's going to be different. So again, I'm not going to spend much time on this at all. I kind of just want to get through it and get to the filing part. So again, if you have California, we're not just going to go through it in great detail because, like I said, every state is different. I'm not going to add any credits to it. Federal, I feel like, is the more important item, but we're not going to add anything. So okay, let's finalize. No, we're going to say no to use tax. We're going to keep going. I know I'm going through it quickly, but I just want to get to the file. I could have picked a non-state, but I'm just curious now as far as it. And then we're not going to hit any of those. Click next. See what happens. All right. Nothing here. So no errors. So I think from H&R Block standpoint, it seems like they're a little bit better. Okay, so here it is. It's telling us we're getting early savings so that we are going to have to pay. This is our total amount due. And now it wants us to have a pro review and sign your return after we already did it, which again, I don't think this is worthwhile. $65 for them to basically review and file the return. I mean, that to me is kind of a waste of money because you already put all the information in. So now you're going to have to upload all your stuff. They're going to double check your return, make sure everything is right and accurate, but we have a pretty basic return. So I would say it's not necessarily needed. I mean, at $65, you already did all the work. I definitely wouldn't do it. So we're going to say no, thank you. I mean, I understand that all these tax organizations, they have, it's a business that they're running, so they want to try to upsell you on everything. And again, that's just kind of what they do. So here's other items. Now, this is basically, it's not giving you really an option here. It's kind of confusing because, oops, I don't want to add that. You'd have to click on it. Well, I guess not. You'd have to click on it, but it almost looks like it's there when it really is not. So we're just going to keep going next. We're not going to add anything. And then it's just telling us what you need in order to file. So if you need your adjusted gross income, that's for IRS rules. If you have an IP pen, you need that. Again, IRS rules. You'll need your bank account routing numbers is the best way to do it, as well as a driver's license. So that must just be TurboTax's, not TurboTax, H&R Block's policy. So if you get deluxe, so that's interesting. So this is what I was looking for. If you get deluxe, it is included that you can have access to your tax returns for 6 years. I think that's important because a lot of times people don't print their returns or save the files. So I do think that's important to have it. And again, you'd have to go to checkout and probably, you can pay, actually this one, you can pay, actually you probably can't do that one because we're not getting a federal refund. So you'll have to pay with your credit or debit card. I wonder what happens if you say pay with it, but it charges you an additional $42 fee, so I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't pay for it. I would just pay with a credit or debit card. And then again, you would just go through the final steps in order to file your return. So overall, my opinion is I almost think I like TurboTax better. Although this one didn't have as many errors, I just think TurboTax is a little bit more user-friendly. Their interface is nicer. This is a little bit confusing, saying minus 582 and plus 3352. I don't like it as much, and I think just in general, TurboTax is a little bit more user-friendly. I like the colors. I like the aspects of it. But again, take your pick. I think TurboTax is definitely the industry leader. H&R Block comes probably within a second place, but they're probably still way off from the self-prep service, as H&R Block historically has been their brick-and-mortar shops, whereas TurboTax has been always a technology company, whereas they had their software. So I think that's really where TurboTax excels, is within their software, whereas H&R Block is a little bit slower to catch up because they've always been in a brick-and-mortar company, and now they're trying to break into the software. Hopefully everyone found this video helpful, useful. Please continue to like and subscribe for more future tips on how to save money and anything tax and money related. Leave any comments you have down below on what you thought of the video and if there's anything else that you'd like me to cover.